All right, today we're going to get inside one of the most tormented minds in all of literature. Our guide, none other than Fyodor Dostoevsky's absolute masterpiece, Crime and Punishment. And what's so interesting is that we don't start with a person. No, we start with a question that is literally tearing him apart from the inside out. And this one single obsessive thought, well, it's going to kick off a journey into the absolute darkest corners of the human soul.
So, who's asking this question? It belongs to a man named Raskolnikov. He's a former student, and he's stuck in the oppressive, grimy heart of 19th century St. Petersburg. And to put it simply, this is a guy who is completely at war with himself and with the entire world around him.
And his world, his physical world, it's a perfect mirror for what's going on in his head. Just picture it. He's trapped in this tiny yellow room that's more like a cupboard or a coffin. He's so poor he's ashamed of the rags he wears. And all the while, this bitterness and just contempt for everyone is building up inside him. His world is literally a prison, and it's a perfect match for the prison of his own mind. Okay, so you have this perfect storm, right? Misery, poverty, pride. It's like the perfect soil for a really monstrous idea to start growing. And this idea, it doesn't just pop out of nowhere, no. It gets planted by a conversation he just happens to overhear.
It's crazy, actually. He's in a tavern, and he hears a student and an officer just casually talking about this greedy old pawnbroker. And they're basically saying, if someone were to kill her and take her money, it would be a good thing. Think of all the people you could help. And for Raskolnikov, this isn't just bar talk. This casual, throwaway idea, it lands on him like a prophecy.
But here's the critical part. For him, this isn't about getting rich. Not really. It's all about intellectual pride. See, he can't just go and commit a crime. He has to build this entire philosophy to justify it, to prove to himself that he has the right to do it. He needs to believe he's special.
And this is his twisted justification, his big theory. He basically says humanity is split in two. You have your ordinary people, that's most of us, who have to follow the rules. But then you have the extraordinary few. Think Napoleon. These people, he argues, have the right to do whatever it takes to achieve their goals. They can transgress any law, step over any body, if it's for the sake of their great idea.
So what does this all mean? It means the crime becomes a test. It's the ultimate exam. Is he just an ordinary man, a louse, as he calls them, or is he one of the extraordinary? The murder, then, isn't really for the money. It's to find the answer to that one single, torturous question he's been asking himself. Who am I?
All right, so this is it, the moment of truth. He's walking to the pawnbroker's apartment, and his mind is just a complete battlefield. All that fancy philosophy is about to slam head-on into brutal, ugly reality. 1 second, he's just paralyzed with horror. He's thinking about the actual physical act, striking her on the head, the skull splitting open. The axe, the blood. Suddenly, his abstract idea is disgustingly, sickeningly real. And then, just as quickly, he's pulling back, desperately trying to get out of it. He's literally praying, "Lord, show me another way. I renounce this accursed dream." His conscience is just screaming at him to stop, to turn around, to just go home. But at the end of the day, he doesn't feel like he's even making a choice anymore. It's like a bunch of little coincidences all line up perfectly, one after the other. It feels like fate, like destiny is literally pushing him forward, and his own free will has just vanished. And it's with that feeling that he crosses the line. He basically gives up, surrenders his own will, and lets what he sees as this irrevocable fate take over. That's it. There is absolutely no turning back now. So the crime is done. But, like the title of the book says, this story isn't just about the crime. It's about the punishment. And let me tell you, that punishment begins the literal second the axe falls.
And we're not talking about the police here. The punishment isn't getting caught. It's the immediate, total collapse of his mind. His grand theory, it just crumbles into dust. He thought he'd feel powerful, extraordinary, right? Instead, he is plunged straight into a waking nightmare of paranoia and fever. He is totally, agonizingly cut off from everyone else.
So how does Dostoevsky pull this off? How does he make it feel so real and so powerful? Well, it's brilliant, actually. He traps us, the reader, right inside Raskolnikov's fractured mind. And he uses this really clever narrative trick that makes us feel just as confused and paranoid as he is. It's called an incomplete narrator. Think about it like this. We don't get a clear, clean window into his thoughts. Instead, we just get fragments, little pieces of his feverish debates with himself. We see what he does, but half the time we're left guessing the real reason why he's doing it. And that lack of clarity, that incompleteness, is what makes it so genius. We feel his paranoia because we're just as in the dark as he is. We're not just watching him suffer his punishment, we're right there in the thick of it with him.
So, into this complete psychological chaos steps Sonya Marmeladov, and she represents a totally different way of being, a completely different path. You could say she's the moral heart of the entire novel, and maybe, just maybe, Raskolnikov's only hope for redemption.
Now here's what's fascinating. Sonya has also broken society's rules. She's a prostitute forced into it to support her starving family. She even has to carry what they called a yellow ticket, which was the official registration for prostitutes back then. So yeah, she's a transgressor too, but her reasons could not be more different from Raskolnikov.
And this right here sets up the core conflict of the whole book. It's something Dostoevsky loved to do, take two powerful opposing ideas and just smash them into each other. And with these two characters, we are seeing the ultimate showdown between two very different kinds of sin.
I mean, the contrast is just so stark, isn't it? Raskolnikov's crime comes from this massive intellectual pride. He did it to prove he was better than everyone else. Sonya's crime? It comes from the deepest humility and selfless love, an act of pure sacrifice to keep her family from starving. He cuts himself off from humanity. She destroys herself for humanity.
And that really brings us to the core question of the whole novel, doesn't it? When he tried to prove he was above humanity, was Raskolnikov's real crime actually against himself? Maybe the true punishment was never going to be a prison cell. Maybe it was the exile he forced upon himself, cutting himself off from the very human connection that someone like Sonya in all her suffering represents. His theory was put to the test, and boy, did it fail. Spectacularly.